Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Manifest Your Glow Up. This week I'm going to be talking to you about Christ consciousness. And I think that this is a really important part of your glow up because when you have this relationship with Jesus, you're just able to transmute anything in your life because you learn how to forgive people, you learn how to love others, and what you put out is what's coming back to you. So whenever you start putting out this good energy, like this unconditional love for self and others, which Jesus talked about, and it's not about worshiping Jesus, it's about being like him. Because when you are like him, you show up as who God created you to be. Like the Jesus version of you, that's who God put you here to be. And I just think it's an important part of your glow up. I mean, what more can you aspire to glow up to than who God put you here to be? It's not about how much weight you can lose or how pretty you can get or how successful you can be. If it's not about God and what he put you here to do, you're never going to feel truly fulfilled because he created something for you that is going to leave you feeling truly fulfilled. And if you're not experiencing that, then that means you haven't tapped into it yet. But it is there for you whenever you become your Christ-like self. Anyways, the reason I haven't been saying anything, I kind of disappeared from Snapchat. I was hold up. And am I a false teacher? Because you can just see all these videos on YouTube. Probably I've just been watching them in the algorithm now. But they call even Sarah Jakes Roberts, who I listen to on Sundays, a false teacher. And there's so much in Christianity. Whenever I wanted to have a relationship with Jesus, I was thinking, okay, Christianity, that's probably the way to go. This is a religion centered around him, right? But when you get there, I ordered this cutest little Bible. I started reading it. And there's just stuff that don't sit right with my soul. But you can't say that. You can't say that because they're you can't just pick certain parts of the Bible you like. You have to follow the whole thing. And I'm the whole thing, the part about gay people and the part about a slave should be obedient to its master and that we should always obey government officials because those just seem I don't know if God really said that, who put this book together? Anyways, they're you can't just pick which parts you like, but isn't that what they did? Whenever they took all these books out and whenever they translated the verses and made it say shit that God didn't really mean, But I'm telling you, I watched a lot of YouTube videos that had me in this state of fear. And I really think it's a witch wound that we have from past lives, from talking about stuff like this. We would be burned at the stake. And that could have happened to a lot of us that are here to talk about things like this, to expand consciousness in a way that deconditions you from religious programming. That can feel so fucking scary, especially if you've had something like this in your past life, the witch wounds. I feel mine is coming to the surface. I was I don't want to be a false teacher. I don't want to say some shit that's not true. Let me read this Bible and let me see. And what? You don't need a book to have a connection with God. The truth is, if you have the New King James Version, I'm telling you, I'm 8 of 30 on my ACT and a perfect score on the English section. And looking at that Bible, I can't understand hardly any of it. It would take me hours to decipher the meaning of what I'm reading. And I just feel that creates confusion, not connection. If you want to have a connection with God, if you understand the Bible, that's great. If religion is working for you, that's great. I think that there's so many great aspects of religion, church, being connected with other people that love God. I really like the idea of that. There's so much good in it, but there's also just these things that create fear, instill fear, I'm going to hell. Is God judging me? Is he going to curse my descendants? And it is If you read the Bible, it is scary. It is scary. There's some, especially in like the Old Testament, the judgment that it describes that God has for us. That is scary. And I was like reading this like, oh my God, especially there's so much stuff about a prostitute in there. I was a prostitute. And I'm like, wait. What? I'm sorry, Lindy. This is what God said is going to happen. I'm telling you, like, the guilt and shame that you can feel from reading this stuff, that it's like makes you think that God would judge you like that. When God created you to be exactly the way you are. And if something to do with the way you are doesn't align with something in this book, that doesn't mean that God loves you any less. Or that he's going to send you to hell for doing something that maybe you weren't programmed to do, or like acting out of a trauma response. God is like always loving us in every single moment. And this book was making me question that. I was like, he don't love who? He's going to do what? But I was really scared. And I was watching all these videos about people who started practicing like Kundalini yoga and started going on this spiritual journey, going back to Jesus. And they were telling their stories, and one of them was saying that she started to believe that demons were granting her manifestations and not God. And I was like, like somebody gave me $10,000 for a car last year. I was starting to question. I was like, have I made a contract with the devil? Like, watching these videos can plant these thoughts in your mind. It's fear. It's fear programming. And fear is an illusion. God loves you in every moment. Anyways, working through this witch wound thing here. I am coming all the way out of the spiritual closet, because there were so many of these videos talking about like how people went from spirituality to Christianity, and they started believing everything that the Bible said and stuff. And I was thinking, like, if I just believed in this Bible, I would fit in where I'm at right now. Like, I'm in the Bible Belt. Nobody is doing yoga and meditating around here. Every class I've substituted for, like, they have a Bible on their desk. It's like, if only I could just get behind this Bible stuff. And there's so much stuff in there that I can get behind. I was like, yep, God probably said that. But just the other parts I told you, like, you get to it and it's like, I don't know. And that's like where you got to trust your own intuition, because your intuition is really your connection to God. If you just put your hands on your heart and close your eyes and breathe into your heart space, that's where you're going to find God, because God is love. And you can connect to that, like, through your vibration, through your energy field. Anyways, the reason I'm recording this video is because there were so many videos about that, and not enough videos that are like, you're on the right path, trust your intuition, and don't let the fear of the collective rub off on you. Because that's what I had done. I had picked up on this energy. Like, okay, my stepdad's literally been praying for me to convert to Christianity. Like, there's all this constant judgment, and it's okay, because I know he truly believes what he believes, and that's why he wants to, like, save me. And it's out of love and fear at the same time. But there's just all this energy around me that doesn't want me to be who I am and believe what I believe. And it had me questioning myself, because there's not really anyone like me around me. It's like just, I'm a weird ass bitch out here. I'm not talking about the same things that other people are talking about. I don't want to go to those football games. Yeah, it's so weird living in a small town where people care about a totally different set of shit than what you care about. And it's like, do I pretend? Do I pretend to believe the way that they believe? Or do I, like, pretend to care about the same things that they do? Or do I just be me? And maybe there are other people out there like me and they're just like scared to be them because nobody else is being them. And so I decided I just have to be me. And like sharing about my beliefs is important to me because I know that there's someone out there that could be going through this, like questioning their identity, questioning their religion, questioning their spiritual journey. Like, am I going to hell for meditating? Or am I letting in demons when I meditate? Like, no. I do think it is important whenever you pray, whenever you meditate. If you ever ask for like assistance from your spirit guides, you want to ask for assistance from the beings of the highest truth and light, and not just be out here asking like anybody in the spiritual world, because the spiritual realm is real and there's energies out there that don't have your highest timeline in line, like they have their own motives. So it is important to connect to the highest truth and love anytime you work in the spirit world, anytime you pray, anytime you meditate, and just have this clear connection to source, God. Anyways, I wanted to get to this blog post that I wrote. I wrote it actually like probably 2 years ago, but I never shared it because, you know, the whole witch wound thing. And so reading this brought me a lot of peace. I was like, okay, yes, trust yourself. This is what you believe, and be confident in what you believe, because I've done a lot of like research, consuming content, and feeling if that content is resonant for me, because your religion is all about what's resonant for you. We're all going to have different beliefs because our souls have all went through different experiences in our lifetime. So something that's true for me might not be true for you, and something that's true for you might not be true for me. And I think it's really important to be open to other religions and understanding that somebody's not going to believe the same way as you, because they could have been brought up in a different area of the world where nobody believes what you believe, or they could have been raised by different parents. And it's just all about the lifetime that our soul is experiencing. Like, some of us came here to go through the Christian faith. Some of us came here to have this spiritual journey. You know, there are some of us came here to be Muslims, but it's all about the connection that we have to God. It's not about our religious beliefs about Him. If we can come back to our connection with God, which is our connection to love for ourselves and others, and realize that that's what it's all about. The core of each religion should be to bring us closer to God, which brings us closer to each other. And I'm just going to read this blog post because it brought me a lot of peace. And these are my 5 top takeaways from religion and 5 things that I'm leaving behind. It says, I felt my intuition tugging me to go to church a couple weeks ago. My mom was like, they will not accept you. You do not share their belief systems. You say cuss words and do kundalini yoga and smoke weed and listen to yogati. But my soul knew there was something I was meant to experience that Sunday. I got out of bed and I did my yoga, and I let my 4-year-old pick out dresses for us to wear. Then I hit up my stepmom to see if we could tag along with her, because we definitely don't have a church that we call home. I haven't identified with religion since before I got pregnant with Lindy. And the last time I went to church with an ex-boyfriend, I felt super unsafe to be myself in there. Like they might burn me at the stake at any moment. I listened to his preacher warn the congregation how people like me were going to go to hell one too many times, and I just decided church wasn't for me. But I'm so glad that I listened to my intuition and gave it another shot. You can read this part of the blog post. Whenever I went to church that day, there was this lady there, the youth pastor, and she was talking about how at church camp, everyone was just in there telling each other about God. Because once you have this experience with God and you know how good it feels, you just want to tell everyone about it. And I was like crying because, oh my God, these kids are out here telling people about God and I'm not. Like, and God has been blessing me so much. Like, I literally went from being on 3 or 4 different kinds of drugs. I found out I was pregnant with my daughter in jail. Like, I've been to jail over 20 times. Like, I lost 80 pounds. I'm a completely different version of myself, like after God found me. And I just haven't been telling people like about how he helped me transform my life. I haven't been giving him the glory. I've been making it about, look what I did, look what I manifested. And really, manifestation needs to always be in alignment with what God has for you. Because we can get on this selfish journey of thinking about all the materialistic things that we think are going to make us feel good about our life. And then when you get them, you're still going to be feeling empty because you're not showing up as who God put you here to be or doing what he put you here to do. At the end of the day, that's like what your manifestation journey should be about. And it's important if you're on a spiritual journey to have that relationship with God and not make it about you, not make it about what do I want for myself, like about the things that are going to satisfy our flesh instead of the things that are going to bring us closer to the divine and really help us feel this sense of love and purpose and connectedness. Anyways, it had me feeling some type of way because I was like, I haven't been telling people about God. And if God could transform my life like that, I mean, I still don't have my shit all the way together, but like I'm not homeless anymore and I get along with my family now. I haven't been to jail in 5 years and I'm off all the hard drugs and I only smoke weed like once a week. This happened to be one of them. But look, here I am telling people about God. It's all about intention. All about intention. Yeah, I've just transformed who I am as a person through my connection with God. Like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that is how you transform your life. Like when we're praying to Jesus, we are attuning ourselves to the energy of Jesus. And it's easier to show up as who God put us here to be whenever we connect with that energy. Anyways, I was like, how have I not been telling people about God's love? I think it was mainly fear that if I don't experience God in the same way that all these churches do, that maybe I'm doing it wrong. But I'm realizing there's no wrong way to experience God. I had a psychedelic experience the following weekend. I made some mushroom tea with about 2.5 grams of these really strong mushrooms, these penis envy mushrooms. And it was intense. But just at the end of it, I really felt the exact same feeling that I had experienced in that church. I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is God. This is God. This is God's love for me. And I'm feeling it right in this moment. Over and over again, I heard this voice reminding me, you are enough. You are enough. There is nothing you have to do to earn my love. And there's nothing that you could ever do that would make me love you any less. And I had that same thought again. Oh my God, how have I not been out here telling people about God's love? Because it really can change your life so much. So here I am telling you about it, hoping one day that you see you the way God sees you. Hoping one day you can tap into this feeling and remember that you are an extension of source energy, that you were created in God's image, and everything about you is holy and sacred and perfect. So in the blog post, I'm sharing my biggest takeaways from religion. These are things I still try to practice and embody in my life. Number 1 is putting God first in everything that I do. I really want to obey him because I'm so grateful for everything he's done for me. And I know that he is the source of all of my blessings. Not the vision boards, not the crystals or, any spiritual stuff that I do. Like, it's God. Number 2 is trusting that God knows what he's doing even when I don't. I trust that his reasons will be revealed to me in the right timing. Knowing this has really helped me go with the flow more and not try to figure out everything while I'm experiencing it. I know that God has a plan and his plan is better than mine. There's so many times I could not have made it through without trusting God. When I was in jail, I was in there rubbing my belly, telling my baby, God is going to take care of us, little girl. We got this. And he did, though. He did. And just having that trust in him, that's where it's at. That is how you regulate your nervous system. That is how you really are able to appreciate your life and just trust that everything's going to be okay. Number 3, most of the 10 Commandments, Psalms, and Proverbs. These are pretty good stuff to live by. Do not be out here lying and killing and stealing. Stop putting destruction out into the universe and expecting good stuff to come back. Your sins create your karma. Okay, enough said on that one. Number 4 is forgiveness. At first, I only started forgiving people because I didn't want to go to hell. Only to see that by holding grudges, I was already there. When we don't forgive, we hold on to hurt and resentment and carry all these heavy emotions around with us. This lowers your vibration and can block you from feeling the joy that you were put here to feel. You have to let that shit go. It doesn't mean that what they did was right. It just means that you're not going to let it control your reality or keep you from living your best life. Number 5 is knowing that God works all things together. Knowing that God created each of us to be exactly who we are so that we could carry out the unique purpose that He has for our lives. It is all connected. Your life, your soul's lessons, and your purpose are a part of the greater plan that He has for the universe. And it's your job to show up and become who He created you to be and learn the lessons that He put you here to learn. Number 6 is knowing that God wants us to have life more abundantly. He did not create us to struggle. Scarcity is a programming. It's not real. There are so many ways that abundance can flow to you. So many ways that God can give you the things that you need. All you have to do is ask and believe. And the believing part is really important. Know that He can give you anything. He can literally move heaven and earth for you. And these are some things that I am leaving behind as I evolve spiritually. Number 1 is worrying that God is judging me when it's really just me judging myself. God knew that I would make the exact mistakes that I make every single day. Even my sins are a part of His plan. God's forgiveness for me is instantaneous. It's only me that hesitates to forgive myself. Number 2, telling people that they are going to hell if they don't believe Jesus is the only way to God. I love Jesus. Jesus was a great guy. Also, you can talk to God without even ever mentioning Jesus, and He will listen to you. Jesus wants us to be like Him, not worship Him. He wants us to be out here practicing unconditional love and non-judgment, not arguing about the details of His existence. Number 3, needing my relationship with God to look like anyone else's. Feeling like I have to go to church or sing certain songs or act and dress a certain way to prove my love for God. My love for God is not meant to be proved. It's meant to be felt. That's the one right there. Like, oh my God. When you go to church and they say some stuff up there like making you feel, I wouldn't say making you feel convicted because that can be a good thing. It's good to have somebody point out our blind spots and let us know when we're not on the path that God has for us. But if it's making you feel shame, God doesn't want you to feel shame. Like, God's not judging you. He doesn't want you to feel bad about yourself. Hating yourself and feeling shame is not going to get you to the next level. You cannot hate yourself into a version of yourself that you love. Okay. Number 4, praying about my problems. When we focus on our problems, we become a vibrational match for more problems. Pray instead for the solutions. If you are experiencing lack, pray for abundance. If you are experiencing sickness, pray for health. Remember that your words are powerful, and as you speak, so you create. Speak blessings over your life and trust God to give them to you. The things that you talk about the most in your life are what you're creating more of. And the stories that we tell about our lives, they come true because it becomes like a program for your subconscious mind. It becomes this belief, and your beliefs create your reality. So whatever you're talking about all the time, that's where you're sending your energy, and that's literally what you're calling in more of. That's the vibration you're tuning into. And so it's so important to be conscious of the words that we're using, the way that we're describing our reality. Are we saying my life sucks, or are we saying I'm having a bad day? Don't let the bad days make you think you have a bad life, because even the things that feel bad or hard are helping your soul become who you came here to be. And just, it's important to tell a better story for ourselves. Like, you are the author of your own story. Like, as cliche, cheesy as that may sound, you are the one that tells the story about your life. If somebody asks you who you are, you're the one that gets to say that. And you're the one that gets to describe your reality. But you can be like, oh, look at all this shit that I healed from. Instead of, look at all this shit that I'm going through, all this shit I went through, especially all this shit that happened to me. Notice whenever you're describing your reality from a point of, look at all the stuff that's happening to me. And instead focus on trying to tell a story where you're like, look at all the stuff that happened for me. Look at how this helped me heal. Look at how I realized that this was trying to teach me something and I stopped complaining about it. And then I created my own reality. And those are the kind of words that you want to speak into existence. Okay. Anyways, number 5. Worrying if everything that I do is a sin. Having a fear of being sinful and going to hell. Living in fear, period. God does not want us to live our lives in fear. He wants us to raise our vibrations and trust our inner guidance systems. He wants for us to feel good and have this knowing, it is well with my soul. And it is all about your intentions. Your intentions create your karma, not your actions. God is paying attention to your heart, not your mind. Sometimes bullshit thoughts can pop up, and it doesn't make you sinful if you're not all love and light. It is all a part of duality. God is the darkness and the light. It's all one. So whenever you have these thoughts that don't feel like in alignment with love and light, and God is love, just know that you can transmute them through your connection to God. And also don't judge yourself for having them, because that is just another aspect of God. God is the darkness and the light. It's like the yin and the yang. We can't experience one without the other. Like what we have to compare it to. It's about your intentions, and God is not always looking like, if she doesn't have the right belief system, I'm not going to love her. You can't get up in here if you don't read the right books. Imagine a God that looks down here and says, look at them. Look at what book they're reading about me. Nope. You cannot get in. Imagine a God that was like that. I just don't think so. I think God is like, oh, look at them. They're trying to get closer to me. And whatever they believe about me, I'm just glad they're connecting with me. We get so caught up in the details about, no, this is what Jesus did. This is what he said. Or like, this is how he died. And he was a prophet. Or no, he was the Son of God. Jesus didn't want us down here arguing about him. He wanted us to be down here connecting to God's love for us and reflecting that out into the world and being like, oh, okay, God loves me and I'm going to love you like he loves you, and I hope you love me like he loves me. All in this vibration of love, and not out here arguing about like the little petty details of our religions. The more that I grow spiritually and the more that I expand my consciousness, the more that I find truth in all religions. How they're basically guiding us to the same principles, to love God and to love others, to treat people the way you want to be treated. For me, it's less about how can I worship Jesus and more about how can I be like him. How can I practice everything he was talking about? How can I embody Christ consciousness and be the change that I want to see in the world? And also, I'm just going to make this side note that after I started working on my relationship with Jesus, like, I pray and meditate, but I don't ever pray like in Jesus' name. And I've been wanting to do that lately. I've been realizing, I don't think it was the devil, but I think it was like my ego, my like shadow had me out here being selfish and, not doing the things God put me here to do. Like living in my comfort zone, not showing up and recording videos, like not doing my podcast, like living in fear. Living in fear, really. And since I've been praying to Jesus, I've been feeling a lot more peace. The Bible wasn't bringing me the peace, but like praying in Jesus' name and asking him to align my thoughts with his thoughts and my actions with his actions, and like help me start showing up the way that he would show up in the world. Like, help me be my Jesus self. Or what would Jesus do? You know, the little bracelets. I think Jesus is like your higher self. And when you connect to him and you show up as your Jesus self, that's like you showing up as your higher self. Anyways, since I've been praying to Jesus, I got out of a speeding ticket on my way to work. I was going like almost 20 miles over the speed limit. And I'm not even from here. He didn't even run my license. He just let me go. I was like, sir, if you can find it in the kindness of your heart. I was praying to Jesus while he was on the way to the car. And he just handed me my license back. I told him I was a substitute teacher, and he let me go. Crazy. And when just like last week, I did get a ticket for running a stop sign, which I know I didn't run it. I probably just like didn't wait long enough before I went. It probably looked like I was just hesitating and not stopping. But anyways, the cops around here don't be letting people go like that, is what I'm trying to say. And then somebody that I met at Natural Grocers like a year ago randomly sent me $100 on Zelle. Like randomly. I was like, this is an accident, because I literally haven't even talked to them. And I got off work 2 hours early the other day. The teacher that I was subbing for, he didn't have a 7th or 8th period, but I still got paid for it. So it's like crazy. Whenever we connect with God, we shift our vibration. And we tune into this vibration of love and this vibration of I know that I am loved and I know God has good things for me. And that's how you start calling them in. You can't call in good things in your life when you're living in this state of fear. And just having this connection with God and knowing that you don't have to figure it out all by yourself, and that there is a divine plan going on, and that everything really is happening for a reason. It's like you're going through whatever bullshit you're going through, you're able to be like, oh, this is this is helping me grow. This is expanding my nervous system. This is helping me become who God put me here to be. Whenever you can trust in that, it can help you stop complaining. It can help you shift your perception. And when you shift your perception, that's how you call in the new reality. Because you're able to shift the story that you're telling about your life. And remember, the story you tell about your life is what comes true for you. It's how you co-create your reality with God. Anyways, whenever we don't have this connection with God, our nervous systems get dysregulated when we are disconnected from our bodies and when we're disconnected from God. I read that quote and I was like, oh my gosh, that is it. That is it. That's when I get dysregulated. And when you are dysregulated, you're in this fight or flight response. And so everything feels like a threat to your survival. Even like the little smallest shit can trigger you. But when we trust in God, we are able to relax our nervous system and really enjoy our lives more. Whenever you're in this fight or flight, you're not looking around for shit that you're grateful for. You're looking around for shit that's going to kill you. You're like, I'm not safe right now, and I got to figure out what it is that's making me not feel safe. And whenever you have the safety in your nervous system, you can be like, just breathe. Whenever we're dysregulated, we're in the fear response, we're not breathing. This is a whole nother episode. This is about how God can help you just and trust that everything is working together for the good of all who love Him and even the people that don't. Whenever you're living in this frequency of fear, that's going to turn on your sympathetic nervous system. You get dysregulated, you're in the fight or flight mode, and even the littlest shit can set you off. When we trust God, we can relax our minds. He will take care of His creation and focus instead on the things that we can change. Like when you're watching the news, like, oh, look at all this shit that's going wrong in the world. You can't create from this place of fear. Instead, you have to focus on the things that we can actually change. Like, you can't change what's going on overseas or the wars that are going on. You can only deal with the war that you got going on inside yourself. And when you focus on the things that you can change, like the foods that you put in your body, how often you move your body, how you show up for the people in your life. You allow your mind to focus on things you do want instead of the things that create fear. Anyways, we're going to stop it right here. I just wanted to record this video and let you know, like, how having a relationship with God can change your life. And it can bring you so much peace. Like I was saying earlier, I was starting to feel very convicted that I wasn't out here telling people about God. Like, look at all the ways that He's blessed me, and I can't not be out here telling people about Him. I just want you to know that, like, if you've ever tried to come to religion to think that you have to come to God, that Jesus is the only way to God, like church is the only way to God, never let anyone convince you that you have to have a connection to God through them. Because that is something that you find from within. That's like connecting to your heart. That's like connecting to above and like within you. It's connecting to love, and you don't have to go through anyone to access that. If you've tried to come to religion and it's made you feel further away from God, it's brought up these things like, could God really be like that? Is there even a God? There is. And don't believe the places where you feel fear about God or you feel this hate from God. Wherever it says that, don't believe that. Don't subscribe to that, because God is love. And if you've tried to come to God through religion and it's made you feel further away from Him, not to give up. And that you don't need any book to help you establish a truth about God. And you don't even have to come to a conclusion about a truth about God. Sometimes we get so caught up in the details and trying to figure out, is this belief right? Is my belief system correct? Am I going to hell? You're missing the point. You're missing, like, in this moment, you could be feeling God's love for you instead of worrying about some dogma or living in your head trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong. And none of that really even matters. It's all about love, you know? And I will say, getting clear about your belief system can help strengthen your sense of self. And it's important to speak up about your beliefs and have them. But just don't get too caught up in it. Don't get so caught up in it that you're not experiencing the fullness that God has for your life. Okay. Anyways, I love you, and I want you to know that God loves you and that He has a greater purpose planned for your life. I just wanted to record this episode and let you know, if you don't have a relationship with Him, then you're missing out. And that's what our life is all about. Okay. I love you guys. Bye.